It's time to shoot the rock. This is the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN 102.7 FM, AM 1450, AM 1230, and streaming live on ESPNKY.com. Your weekly double-barrel dose of the biggest names, best products, and most intriguing topics in the world of firearms. Brought to you by Hilux Optics, Swagger by Pods, Shoot with Confidence, J&K Used Cars on the Bypass, and Mohawk Outdoors. In pursuit of liberty, justice, and all things guns. Here are your hosts, Nick and Nate Noble.
Yeah, welcome back to the Rockcastle Gun Show. It's a special one because we're live at Rockcastle. I love doing the show live at Rockcastle, Nick, and we got a big show tonight because what weekend is it?
Well, it's my favorite weekend of the year. It's the 9th annual Rockcastle Pro-Am 3-Gun Championships, and we're here in the ESPN trailer, live at the Rockcastle Lodge, and people are piling in here. The match doesn't start till Friday, but we've got a bunch of the range officers, and we had a bunch of wounded warriors, and everybody else had come in, and they're shooting this match today and tomorrow, and it's all good. And it's a beautiful night at Rockcastle. We're overlooking the Mammoth Cave Sinkhole Basin here. We could see for 20 miles, and everybody's piling in, and it is truly my favorite weekend of the year.
Yeah, and the courses are beautiful. The stages, they're looking good. The boys have been working hard. Brian Corey, David Power, Dean DeTurk, Mike Dell been out there with us. We have 15 3-gun stages on the ground ready to shoot. They've been ready to shoot for a couple days, and it's also a special weekend. You know, Brian Webb is here with us. And Brian, did you know that 2 weeks ago shots fired at Bigfoot on Mammoth Cave National Park, bro? Shots fired. So we kind of accepted that into the theme and told everybody to kind of be on the lookout for Bigfoot out there on the ranges, and it could happen.
I think if you pay attention, you might see Sasquatch.
We actually put it into the stage briefing. Don't shoot them if you see them because they're an endangered species. So we need to try to capture them.
That's right.
Instead of shoot them.
Yeah, right. A little bit of history on the Pro-Am. We started this 9 years ago, and Jeff Cramblett, who was the first original match director, kind of the concept here is to create a major 3-gun competition, which is now, this is arguably, I don't even know if it's arguable, this is the largest 3-gun competition in the world. We have people here from 42 different states, from 3 different foreign countries. We've got 15 folks from Brazil here that come in and have shot this match every single year. But the concept is to develop a 3-gun competition that's going to be friendly to beginners, novice, and amateurs that want to jump into a major 3-gun competition, but also give the pros a real test of challenge. And 3-gun is pistol, rifle, shotgun. One of my favorite stages of the whole match is we have what's called a traffic jam or apocalypto or whatever you want to. EMP went off. There's a fuselage, a plane hit the ground, and a major wreck has happened on the middle of an interstate.
Cars everywhere.
Yeah, and you drive up in your brand new Caddy and have to get out and start shooting. And you shoot the targets as they become visible, pistol, rifle, shotgun, and it's just it's a lot of fun. So that it is truly a test of skill in practical shooting situations. So they're shooting around walls, over barricades, through windows, in cars, or whatever. But 3-guns,
bridges,
off bridges.
One of the guys that walked up here knows the bridge as well, and we're going to bring him on here in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, bridges. So the stages are fast. Pro-Am's always been kind of a shooting competition. It's been, shoot 'em up fast. There's not a ton of movement and hard stuff like you would get in a Blue Ridge Mountain 3-Gun Championship, like Andy's matches or the Rockcastle Hard as Hell series with Bruce Davidson as a match director. It's not that kind of match. It's built for shooters to shoot fast, move fast, shoot fast, and get it done. So it's going to be a good match because some of the best shooters in the world are here, literally. And we're going to have a couple of them on the radio here probably pretty quick, but Yeah, I'm excited about the Pro-Am, man. I'm ready to get this thing fired up.
No, it's gonna be a great match, and it's open to the public. You guys can come up and check it out. It's been sold out since February, but if you come in and check into the Rockcastle Lodge, you can sign a waiver, and they'll give you a wristband. The range officers and everybody know who you are once you have that. You can go out and watch Jerry Mitchlick or Daniel Horner shoot a bunch of 3-gun.
Yeah.
Or maybe even our first guest,
Mike Sexton, the former match director of the Pro-Am 3-Gun Championship here at Rockcastle. And he's been out sneak peeking some of David's setup. What do you think, man?
Hey, I like it, man. It's looking good. I think David did a great job. I'm looking forward to shooting this thing this year. And, I don't shoot it when I was the match director. And going out there and look at some of these stages, and I hadn't got over to the stage you talked about, the apocalypse or whatever now, I hadn't got over there yet, but I did look at the horse, and I'll tell you what, it's going to get my attention out there, is getting back into this thing, looking forward to shooting with everybody and getting all these pros out here and having a ball, guys.
Mike, you've been around the 3-gun game a long time. You're a Marine, and you've been around combat, you've been around competitive shooting, and it's a little bit different feel when you pull into Rockcastle Lodge in the parking lot, coming in as a competitor, as opposed to living here for a month ahead of the match and actually having to put the match on the ground. What's the difference between this year and last year? You were a match director this year, or you're just a lowly competitor? What's the difference?
Well, the difference is I get to, as a work in it, you put in a lot of work. These guys, David, Brian, all the guys have put in a lot of work. And it's really takes a lot out of you. You really don't have time to enjoy the atmosphere in the evening. The Pro-Am is famous not only for its shooting, but for the after hours here in the parking lot. You guys bring in a band. We have alcohol served. It's contained in the parking lot. It's a good time. This year I get to enjoy the festivities along with the match and not also just in the match, So that's kind of what I like for.
Well, and we'll get Brian Corey and David Power, and Dean on the show in a little bit, but it takes a Herculean effort to put something like this, the largest 3-gun competition in the country. I mean, Brian Corey brought in, over 380 pieces of steel from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and one of the few things that's different about this match, and it goes with David's design and everything, is that I think there's only 6 paper targets in the entire match, and if you've been around 3-gun, typically 70% of your targets are going to be paper, and the rest is going to be steel. So how's that flavor different?
Well, it's going to slow the game down a little bit. Everybody's talking about the times, the round counts, different things like that. But with just a small amount of paper, it's not going to be a hoser match. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to take your time and shoot the match. And you're going to have to study on how you do it and think about it a little bit. And it's going to be an aim and match. And, I went out and looked at the 2 long-range stages today. We got targets out past 500 yards today. The targets get smaller as they go out. They start big, get smaller. So this is going to be a match you're going to have to aim to shoot and to win. So it's going to be a different type of challenge for anybody.
And some of that pistol steel is not easy stuff. It's small.
No, it's not.
It's not. And some of them are spinners and things like that. You have to spin the pistol and then come back and spin it with a shotgun. And there's a little bit different flavor to what David and Brian, and it's going to be interesting.
Well, that's the good thing about bringing in different match directors, and I didn't mind or want, think about doing it again, because it's always good every couple of years to bring a different flavor in, because every match director has a different way he does it. He has a different thought process. When Jeff did this thing, he had his way. When Gary did it, he had his way. When I come in, I brought a kind of an East Coast flavor to it, a little bit of natural terrain, stay in the terrain, out of the bays. David has brought a little bit, and let me make it a little bit harder. Let me make it a little bit smaller. There's nothing complicated here. You just have to think about what you're doing. Everything's straightforward. And he brings his flavor to it, and that's the good thing about it. The shooters can come here and see something different than they saw last year.
Yeah. I think he's brought a little bit of Tennessee hillbilly to it.
There's no doubt about being a Tennessee hillbilly.
Yeah. So, I think he's brought a little Tennessee hillbilly to the Rockcastle Pro-Am 3-Gun Championships. And, be on the lookout for Sasquatch out there. He's here.
He's on a tree somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we're connected to Mammoth Cave. The dude is there. He's there somewhere.
Well, the good thing about this is we were standing in the bar last year here at Rockcastle, and I said, David, you're going to be the match director next year. And he's got this thing. He says, and I said, oh, yeah, you are. And he goes, And I said, watch and see if he ain't. Look at him this year. He's the match director this year. So, I can't wait to see him, to harass him a little bit about that. But I think they have all done a hell of a job out here putting this thing together.
Well, David will be here, along with a lot of other shooters. We're going to go pay some sponsors here. We're going to take a break from the Rockcastle Pro-Am 3-Gun Championship live on site at Rockcastle Shooting Center, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. We'll be right back. You're listening to ESPN Radio, 1027.com.
Hey, it's Nick Noble with the Rockcastle Gun Show here. We're talking about Swagger bipods. Do you want just your average barrel rest, or do you want to shoot with some swagger? Introducing the Swagger bipods. They expand your shooting zone with Swagger, the all-terrain hunting bipod. After more than 100 years, finally shooters have a bipod with patented, flexible, hyper-extending telescoping legs that give you the agility like never before. So get rid of stiff legs and get the bipod with infinite maneuverability. Swagger, the bipod that moves.
J&K Used Cars is the place to go when you need a quality automobile at an affordable price. Stop in at 670 on the Bypass in Bowling Green and see this week's special. A 2009 Honda Ridgeline 4-wheel drive comes with good miles, sport wheels, power options, bed cover, keyless entry, tinted glass, and more for only $13,995. Hurry in, because at that price it won't last long. J&K Used Cars, with over 40 years of serving the community with affordable prices on quality automobiles. Visit J&K on the Bypass and online at jnkusedcars.com.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
Good timing. We're back on the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio. Hey, don't forget to go get the podcast. Go to wherever you get your podcast, download your phone, subscribe to the Rockcastle Gun Show, search it out. We've had, I think we're like 126, 127, I don't know where, somewhere in there. A lot of firearms topics. I mean, whether it's folks, shooting competitions, product, we talk about everything technical. It's a variety show. We talk about stuff all week, every week, different things.
And we'd be interested in having our listeners out there, and people are downloading this podcast all over the country and all over the world for that matter, but just getting some feedback at rockcastleshootingcenter.com or on our Facebook page. We'd be interested because we do try to bring it's kind of a variety show. I mean, it's like looking at the USA Today, the newspaper, and there's the money section, there's the sports section, there's the business section. We kind of cover guns and gear and personalities and storylines, different competitive shooting deals, and different perspectives on that. And I think we're bringing in our next guest into the show right now. And Chris Wiseman is here with us, and he's a law enforcement officer in Durham, North Carolina, who's also one of the arguably the top shooters in the country and has been around this game for a long time. And Chris, welcome to the show, man.
How are you? You probably have to get close to that thing. Okay. Like make love to that mic, Chris. So Chris, you've been you're one of the hardest working dudes around. You're a range officer at more matches than I can count, and you shoot all over the place. And you've told us before you love coming to Rockcastle.
This the second trip of the season this year. It's one of my favorite spots to come shoot. Nice, relaxing, nice, natural terrain. There's always been a good course of fire, and it's always been a great crowd.
Talk a little bit about the natural terrain. I think because we were just named one of the 10 coolest shooting ranges in the United States by Outdoor Life magazine, Filmed at Stream magazine, and their blog Range 365. It's a little bit different ballgame. Most places you're shooting in square bays, 25 meters, 50 meters. They may even have a 100-meter square bay. But here you're in the hills of Kentucky, and that just brings a different flavor, doesn't it?
That's a whole nother thing. Instead of being able to run down a nice manicured cut bay, you're now having to worry about, is this tree in the way? Is this branch in the way? Am I going to trip?
Is there a snake?
Is there a snake? Is there a tick? The physicality just adds so much more to a basic stage that's simple to shoot, but shooting's the easy part.
Yeah.
It's negotiating the terrain and getting through woods, rocks, trees, lots of hills. So that's a big part of it.
as a law enforcement officer, and you and I stayed up pretty late last night, discussing, your job as a law enforcement officer. And by the way, thank you very much, because I don't think there is a tougher job in the United States, America right now, than being a LEO, and it's tough. I've seen a lot of debates back and forth on different forums and things in terms of the military and law enforcement, and some people kind of bash competitive shooting because it's not practical in terms of what you guys do day to day. But how do you see the correlations in the skill sets that you have to do on the street every day, and does something like this help that? And
so, yes. What a lot of folks don't understand is this is a game setting. Okay? It's a competition. However, you've got to be able to execute and engage every single fundamental that you're taught in firearms training on the spot now and make it happen as it's happening. Much like a live situation where to fire that shot, you've got to go through the entire checklist of fundamentals, skill sets to make that shot. What people realize is they see, he's running around dropping magazines, cutting corners, da-da-da-da-da, instead of really focusing on that guy's working on problem-solving skills, much like you do at work. It's really not a difference. The only difference is the setting. So if I come into a call or situation, I know my parameters, I know my problem. It's up to me to figure out how to fix it efficiently and quickly.
I dig that. Yeah.
So that's lost on a lot of cops.
I've been an advocate working for the Sheriff's Department here in Edmonson County in Kentucky for a long time. I've been a huge advocate of getting our officers into USPSA and things like that because, you know it as well as I do. There's a lot of cops that aren't very good shooters. And just working on your skills is one thing, but moving and, if you get into a shootout in the street, God forbid, you got to know how to move and shoot and use cover and things that you just don't think about every day. And I've always been an advocate of trying to get more law enforcement officers into our programs up here, especially the local guys and the guys we work with, because there's a lot of learning that can go on a stage like that.
There is, and most of it doesn't even involve firing a shot. It's working the problem, it's figuring out the situation, and getting a resolution out of it. So in order to fire that shot, you've got to go through a number of things just to get there. Much less when you go to a call, you have to go through a number of things just to satisfy the requirements of that call.
Absolutely. So, Chris, thank you for coming and volunteering. I mean, you do this out of your own time and everything else. You're part of the staff. You're shooting the match as well. But we appreciate your perspective and being a dedicated rockhead.
Thanks, man.
We love having you here, bro.
Yeah,
you're one of our favorite peeps coming up to the Rock, man. We appreciate you.
The 2 or 3 annual trips a year. That's the highlight.
Well, we appreciate you coming, and we always tell people if you're getting your mail forwarded at some point during the year to Rockcastle, then we're doing something right. So thanks for coming on the show, brother.
You're welcome.
We're going to jump in with somebody else, but I was thinking while we're getting somebody else up here, we have literally. We're taking this guy out of a meeting. He's doing a training class right now with all of our range officers, and arguably the best shooter in the world in our book, and a great friend of Rockcastle. And bro, welcome to the program, bro. Daniel Horner. Hour.
Well, I don't know if arguably before you jump in there, Daniel. I don't know if arguably is. I don't know. I can't think of any competitive shooter in the world that has won championships, and not only was he on the Army Marksmanship Unit, but he grew up around competitive shooting. But the the sniper challenges, long range stuff. You've been around, Daniel. You're a young man, but you're out of the Army now. And is there anybody that's won more titles than you have?
Oh man, old Jerry Micklick, I think, has got me. Yeah,
he's supposed to be here.
He's tough to beat with the medal count.
And Jerry's going to be here this weekend, and you know, I see him, and I call the Mitchellicks, you know, they're the first family of shooting. But I think the guy that's taken over the crown eventually is sitting right here with us and wearing a 6-hour jersey. And it's great to have you. Now, we just pulled you out of a conference room because you're doing a class for the range officers. What's going on upstairs?
David Powers, who's running the match here, he gave me a super cool opportunity to come up here and give a class to the range officers. So trying to just give a little something back to the guys that are volunteering so much for the whole week, you know, out in the sun and working so hard, trying to just give them a little something to show them our appreciation for all that hard work. So we're up there, we're doing a mental management class and a little bit of gear prep, match prep, things like that.
That's great. That's great. Now, you've started a new venture. You're out of the Army now, and you're, you know, shooting professionally. You're giving courses and classes across the country. We'd love to have you here at Rockcastle, and I know that our listeners all over the country and the world would love to take a course from you. But you also designed this new website that's really cool, that where if you subscribe to it, you actually can get literally all the best shooters in the world and get instruction from them. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So the website is onvertus.com. We launched it about 3 months ago, and we've got all the top shooters on there. The kind of the premise for it was we wanted to come up with something that we would have wanted earlier in our shooting career that was affordable for everybody, that, you know, if you couldn't make it to a $800 pistol class, then you could get on here for $15 a month or I think it's $100 a year, and get the same classes. All these classes are exactly what people teach in the day-long courses. So if you've got the ability to take your iPhone to the range, you can look at the drills. It's got PDFs with it, and then go out there and get the lesson on your own.
Yeah. And that's taken off, right? I mean, you're getting just tons of subscribers, and you're getting bigger and bigger names like yourselves and others, Jerry and everybody that's on there teaching.
Yeah, go through some of the names of the instructors you have on there. It's not just your discipline.
It's just not just me. So I'm on there, obviously, and then Jerry Micklick, Lena. We've got Vincent Hancock, a 2-time Olympic skeet shooter. He's coming on. His videos have been shot. We're just getting ready to upload them. We've got Todd and Colby Hodnett from the long range side with Jake Vibert. He also is going to be doing the PRS specific type training. So basically, if it goes off, we've got the best instructor to teach you how to do it. And we're adding guys every month. So we've got the shooting thing kind of figured out. We've got 3 or 4 more top guys coming in, but we're going to branch out into archery and pretty much everything in the outdoors. And you'll be able to get in there for a very, very low, reasonable price. And we've just gotten some good talks in with some sponsors so that the members not only will get the instruction, but they'll be able to get, you know, good promo deals from these top shooters on the products that they use in the video.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And if you subscribe to your website, which is called
onvertus.com.
Onvertus.com.
ONVIRTUS.
Onvertus.com. So if you subscribe to that, you don't have to channel to pistol or channel to precision rifle. You can actually get the access to all these instructors with one subscription.
Yep. One subscription gets you absolutely everything. So that was what we wanted. You know, when I was younger, I got super fortunate and had a guy that was a world champion pistol shooter that was relatively close to our house, and my parents were able to take me there. But if it hadn't been for him, we would have had no idea where to begin. So I go to these matches and I see these young kids wanting to get better, and, you know, they really are hungry for the knowledge, but all they've got is YouTube. So they don't know how to filter that out to know what's good, what's relevant, you know, what will actually help them.
There's some really bad stuff on YouTube.
Some terrible stuff. Yeah. So here's a world champion shooter telling you exactly how to become a world champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like learning golf from Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, totally. So let's talk about this match for a second. And you're doing a mental management class, but okay, so to come to a major 3-gun match, you need to be able to shoot. and you need to be able to handle your weapons safely and all that stuff and have the right gear. But after that, the mental management aspect and breaking down the stages mentally and learning how to move and stuff, let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, how much of your time goes into the mental side of the shooting stage as opposed to, exactly how you're going to hold the physical part?
So that is a great question, and I love the mental aspect of this. I got into it about 4 or 5 years ago, and I've just really poured a lot of resources and time into really mastering that because I was actually listening to one of the guys that used to be in the AMU, and he said, what part of this game is mental? And we're all sitting there like, 95%, right? Like, you don't have to be a super strong guy to shoot a 223 or anything like that. But, and then he asks us, he's like, well, how much of your time do you spend practicing it? And we all kind of looked at each other like we were stupid. Like, I've literally never spent any time, none. And that really hit home for me. I thought about the whole drive home from work. And I started reading books and looking into it, and I thought, he's got such a good point. You ask any top athlete of anything what the mental management system is, percentage-wise of their game, they're all going to say 95%. And then you ask them what they do, they spend no time, no money on it.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
It is. I mean, it's an epiphany, but it's the same thing in business and everything else. I mean, if you're going to be successful, you have to spend time on what you do 95% of the time. The most important things, and most people don't do it.
That's how I started the class off with the ROs that were up there. I'm like, guys, look, you can go out and you can practice 100,000 rounds. It doesn't matter if you can't perform in the match.
Right.
So, think about it. The biggest joke in the shooting game, the competition game is, and it's literally something you'll hear 100 times at a match. What's your plan? Everybody has a plan until the buzzer goes off.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then your plan falls apart because you're in panic mode because you're now on the clock.
I've worked with a bunch of guys, and some of them are young guys, and they come up and they'll be super frustrated, saying, "Hey, I should be better than this. I did better than this. This isn't me." When the scores come out, I'm like, "Hey, bro, they have a measuring stick every time. You were measured. That's where you're at. Like, sorry." So it doesn't matter what you can do at the house. It matters what happens when you're actually at the competition. And if you can control your mind, you can control the outcome.
Absolutely. And for this weekend, when it's 100 degrees out and hot, and you're managing all the equipment and gear and trying to shoot that stage.
Well, and this match is interesting. The way David Powers set it up is that there's very little paper. We have only 6 paper targets in the match. It's all steel, so everybody's going to have to aim. And I think that even this match, which is less about running and more about gunning, they're going to have to stop and aim. And I love watching shooters like Daniel Horner, who's our guest, arguably the best competitive shooter in the world, is here, and how intense you guys are in terms of walking through, understanding the stages, and then getting a game plan, because it's only you're only limited to your imagination when you see a stage, because you shoot the targets as they become visible. They don't tell you in which order to shoot things, and people like you and watching you and Jerry and others just plan out a stage plan is incredible. So,
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate all the listeners.
Class. David's over here saying you got to get back to your class. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Thanks for spending some time with us. Looking forward to catching up after the show and after your class. Good to have you at Rockcastle, man.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you later.
All right, Daniel Horner, world champion, Sig-Sauer shooter. Thank you very much. You're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio 102.7, and we'll be right back after these messages.
This is a Morgan & Morgan consumer message.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Sadly, we see lawyers bragging about a settlement that should have gone to trial and would have if we'd been the lawyers. A case settled for $100,000 may well have been worth $1 million at trial. To get a fair settlement, it helps if your firm has a reputation for going to trial and getting justice. Go to forthepeople.com and look at our recent verdicts in court. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. Offices Bowling Green.
Eric Weinmayer knew the risks. Less than 1,200 people had ever conquered Mount Everest, and more than 175 had died trying.
But still he climbed, not seeing the terrifying drops or the fear on other faces. And when he reached the summit, he didn't even see the view because Eric Weinmayer is blind. He proved it doesn't take sight to reach the top. It takes vision. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Although hunting to most of us is much more than just harvesting animals, why not better your deer herd's health with Big & J Long Range Attractant? Big & J is highly digestible, high in protein, and isn't full of preservatives. With Big & J Long Range Attractants, you're not only exploiting one of the few weaknesses whitetails have, their stomachs, but you're maximizing antler growth, improving overall herd health, and pulling deer from your neighbor's property. So whether your goals are to fill the freezer, kill mature bucks, or both, Big & J Long Range Attractants will stack the odds in your favor, all the while making your deer herd bigger and healthier.
J&K Used Cars is the place to go when you need a quality automobile at an affordable price. Stop in at 670 on the Bypass in Bowling Green and see this week's special. A 2009 Honda Ridgeline 4-wheel drive comes with good miles, sport wheels, power options, bed cover, keyless entry, tinted glass, and more for only $13,995. Hurry in because at that price it won't last long. J&K Used Cars with over 40 years of serving the community with affordable prices on quality automobiles. Visit J&K on the Bypass and online at jnkusedcars.com.
Hey, this is Tommy Thacker, and you're listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN.
All right. We're on ESPN Radio, the only gun show on ESPN Radio, live right here on the Rockcastle Shooting Center parking lot for the 2019 Pro-Am 3-Gun Championships. And we're sitting here overlooking this beautiful view. We've got the range officers that have been shooting for the last couple days. We had some Wounded Warriors out there. They're getting their thing done. And now we're joined in the mobile studio, the Rockcastle ESPN mobile studio, right here with our producer, Brian Webb, hosts Nick and Nate Noble. And we've got the match director and one of the two guys that are putting on this match with David Power and Mr. Brian Corey. What's up, boys?
Hey, how are we tonight?
And everybody knows Mr. Jim over there. Want to let everybody see that right
That's
there.
right.
So you guys, David Power is our match director. And David, there's no one that knows this property, Rockcastle Shooting Center, better than you, David. I mean, you've been here. You've done it. You've been involved since the first Blue Ridge Mountain 3-Gun Championships when Saber Defense was the match sponsor. And you were a hard-working RO then and staff there. And you've come, that's been 10 years ago, and now you're here as a match director of the largest 3-gun competition in the world. How's that feel, and how tired are you?
Well, I tell you, you kind of bring it back around when you see Daniel Horner sit here, right? And he's now given a class for shooting for our range officers. And I think back to those first days where his dad, Andy Horner, put us out in the field to help build the Saber Defense Blue Ridge Mountain 3-Gun, and how things just come full circle. It's amazing to see how things now, and how Daniel is, so amazing in his career, what he's done, and how, as we come in and, the thing I can say about the Pro-Am for 2019 is pretty nostalgic, for me. It's one of those humbling events to where you're just excited. I've been at every Pro-Am in some form or capacity, most of the time as a range officer, with some fantastic, match directors that have been there. I've learned from some of the best, including Andy Horner, who was, instrumental in some of the things, Mike Sexton, Jeff Cramblett, Gary Welburn, and got to see so many different people, Joe Harris, for the Benelli Shotgun Challenge. And you're right, I thought I saw just about every piece of this property until I finally found and saw Bigfoot. That's got to be one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, is to see Bigfoot. So Brian Corey's been here with us, and I tell you, we couldn't do it without all the people that have been involved.
Yeah.
Between Eric Arnold, who's come up, Dave Chipwood came and chopped a bunch of stuff up for us, Alan, as far as Alan Jenkins coming in, and Dean DeTurk, all the guys that have been part of this have been amazing. But Brian, you've built matches all over the country, so I'd love to hear what you got to say about it.
Man, biggest thing for me to say is deja vu. I've been here with Mike. Actually got to spend a little time with Gary back one year, helping him get some things together when he had the Thunder games. I just get to learn and work with everybody, and everybody's got a different flavor, and it all works, you know?
Yeah.
So,
we touched on this when Mike was on the first segment of the show, but 3-gun competitions, because you're using 3 different platforms, pistol, rifle, shotgun. We're setting up 15 different stages. There's only 6 or 7 paper targets in this.
Total paper for the match is 8.
8.
So there's 6 for the AMs.
Yes.
No, is that correct?
No, there is 6
for the pro, 2 for the AM.
No, 6 for the AM on Doe Valley. And 2 for the pro.
For the pros. 2 for the pro, 6 for the AM.
So folks that aren't familiar with 3-gun, they may not understand that, but you've created a competition that's a whole lot about aiming and a lot about hosing. And what hosing means is shooting targets real fast, because when you got paper, you really don't know whether you hit it or not. You just hope you did. But it's pretty obvious when you miss or hit a steel. We've got range officers that call it, and we've got a great sponsor with Magneto Speed that's going to help us call all those long-range targets. But, I mean, you guys, this is a different twist. And, some people, 3-gunners love to critique things. And this is going to be one that will be talked about for a long time.
Well, we hope so. One of the unique things has been everyone asks you the question for things like round count, right? Before we've even put it on the ground. And this is really because of the property and because of the areas that we're using, it's really a dynamic product that moves as you're building, right? So you have a concept. We know we're going to shoot something in this area. We're going to shoot something else in this area. But we didn't let a lot of things stop us from doing things, right? So as we're looking at them, we're trying to figure out a way that we can marry together the pros and the AMs to shoot together, okay, in a way that they're not interrupting each other or they're not interrupting the flow of this match. I mean, understanding that Park City, Kentucky, Rockcastle Shooting Center is about to be inundated and overrun with over 600 competitive shooters. Yeah. Probably one of the safest places to be in the world at this
weekend.
I would guarantee that.
I think we did the count. We're about at 40-plus states and 3 foreign countries that are going to be here.
It's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we try not to let, the things limit us. So when we go to round count things, we just gave it the basic numbers, 250, 250, 250, and 50 slugs. So,
and I want to invite our listeners in the local area to come up Friday evening. It's going to be good because we're doing, David, you've kind of set something up with the help of Brian Ray. We're going to have a shoot-off after the first day of the competition on Friday. Starting about 5, 6 o'clock. What?
6 o'clock is going to start the shoot-off, which is the top 16 pros and the top 16 amateurs of the day are going to be paired together. So number 16 of the pro is going to be paired with the number 1 of the AM, and they're going to become a team. And they're going to get to shoot off against the other teams that are paired in the same example. And at the end of that, we're going to name the Pro-Am champion.
Absolutely.
Okay? There'll obviously be high overall and number 1, number 2, number 3, that type of position for the pros, and number 1, 2, and 3 for the AMs. But by pairing those people together, they can actually say, I'm the best pro and amateur group together. And we're going to top that off at the end of it at about 8:30 with better call some folks around just to make sure they know, especially from the highway. They're going to look up and think it's 4th of July with a fireworks display that we're going to celebrate our freedoms.
We're going to have a freedom extravaganza.
An extravaganza of the fireworks display, celebrating our freedoms. And, I tell you, one of the most nostalgic, one of the greatest things I saw today is we had a squad of 11 veterans shoot through today. And if you want to see what America's all about, just come out and watch the Pro-Am.
Yeah,
because you see 11 veterans that have served our country and all the things. I had one guy running the stage. I love it. I won't name him, but he's Doe Valley stage, and he's like, man, he said, when I saw the video on the stage, he said, I started to hate you. And I said, it's not that bad. You've got a golf cart. You can go back and forth. He said, dude, I've only got one lung. And I'm like, well, is it working okay? He said, yeah. I said, well, you feeling all right? He said, I'm great. He said, I'm having the best time ever.
That's awesome.
So, love serving those guys.
That's
too.
awesome. Well, we're up at the Rockcastle Pro-Am 3-Gun Championships, Rockcastle Shooting Center. We go live Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come up and check it out. Friday night we'll have the shoot-offs with the pros and the AMs. And David Power, Brian Corey, so glad to have you in the ESPN studio, the mobile ESPN studio here at Rockcastle Shooting Center. And we're going to go to a break right now. Our mobile or our remote producer, Garrett Browning's back in the studio, and Brian Webb's right here on site. And we'll be back right after these messages. You listen to the Rockcastle Gun Show on ESPN Radio.
This is Nate from Rockcastle Shooting Center. Did you know that one of the premier shooting ranges in the world is right here in South Central Kentucky? Rockcastle Shooting Center has something for everyone's recreational shooting enjoyment. From 3D archery to our brand new sporting clays course, handgun ranges full of steel to targets out to a mile. There's no better place to get some trigger time than Rockcastle Shooting Center. Non-members are welcome, and memberships start at $150 per year. We offer a fantastic range of firearms training and education opportunities from the most basic to the most advanced. Come see us, exit 48 on I-65, Park City, Kentucky. Visit rockcastleshootingcenter.com.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Begin by finding a comfortable, relaxed position. Let out whatever stress is in your body. It could be from the time you left your daughter's blouse in the dryer too long and it shrunk 4 sizes, or when you donated her private diary to the public library, or when you thought chaperoning the school dance meant actually dancing in the school dance. Whatever it is, let it go. The fire you started with that experimental dinner, let it go. The time you drove away from the gas pump with the gas pump, let it go. 3, very relaxed. 2, there you go. 1.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Remember when your mother used to say, "Don't let the bed bugs bite," when she tucked you in? Well, guess what? Bed bugs are real. They do feed at night, and they're on the rise throughout the United States. But with the right knowledge, you can minimize the serious health and property threats posed by common pests like bed bugs, termites, and rodents. To learn how, visit pestworld.org. This message brought to you by the National Pest Management Association.
This is Tim Jensen from Gun Style. You're listening to ESPN, the Rockcastle Gun Show.
You are listening to the Rockcastle Gun Show, and we're live at Rockcastle Shooting Center in the Roland Remote Studio for ESPN Radio 102.7 at the Rockcastle Pro-Am 3-Gun Championship. Having a blast, talking to the people that are here. Not everybody's here. We literally have like 1,000 people going to be here this weekend. And they're rolling in a little bit at a time. All the range officers are here. They've been shooting the last 2 days. And the pro shooters are rolling in. But there's a few pro shooters that we got that came into RO the match this time. And Ryan Muller, one of our Rockcastle family, is here with us. Team Magpul, Hyperfire, Fiocchi Ammunition.
And Stoger.
And Stoger.
Good to be here.
Stoger. Good to be here.
Very good to be here.
What's up? You've been shooting. You look tired.
Yeah, it's been a very long day. I would venture to say that anything around me can probably smell me, and you're probably going to want to bring this headset to a rolling boil before anybody else gets to it. But it's been a good day. I definitely worked hard. I definitely looked terrible, I'm sure. But
in some of our other matches, in the Rockcastle Rock Hard 3-Gun match, part of the Hard as Hell series, it's a hard match. And if you shoot it in one day, they give you a patch that says hard ass. And you shot the Rockcastle Pro-Am on the pro side today.
All in one day. We even shot one stage twice because there was some confusion. So I actually shot more than just the Pro-Am.
And you and Aaron Hayes from Hayes Custom Guns, good friend of yours and good friend of Rockcastle's. And what did you think about the match? I mean,
I actually had a great time, and this was something different than we normally do. I went at this as opposed to coming in trying to win, as I was going to shoot and I was going to have fun, and that's what shooting should be. Is it should be a great time no matter what. So it kind of took some of the pressure away from us, and we really got to enjoy the stages for the way they were designed and what they were built for. I love the match. It was a different flavor than you guys have had in the past. I think they've already mentioned before, but we on the pro side had 2 pieces of paper for the whole match. Loved it. Had 2 stages where we didn't even have to reset. So there's lots of steel. There's plenty of targets to shoot. And the difficulty level was there without adding any kind of trickery.
Sorcery.
That's a registered trademark of Ryan Muller Incorporated.
So, on a 3-gun match like this, I mean, obviously shooting in one day is harder than shooting 4 and 4 for the pros. But you kind of got to have your stuff together, your gear, and you got to have your bullets and your ammo sorted out and everything right so you can get through it. Talk about your equipment a little bit and how much you have to rely on everything to work shooting all day long.
I mean, you talk about the prep and having everything in line. That's in theory, obviously. But like I said, we were having fun. But no, I've been shooting the same gun. I get a lot of questions online about the Stoeger M3K and what they need to do to it after a year. I've been shooting the same gun for 3 years. I promise I shoot more than you do. Since that gun was new, which was before they even released the M3K, I've only replaced the recoil spring.
That's tough.
That's really all it needed. So, but to your point, you have to have ultimately reliable stuff. You have to have a good system, a good way that you pack everything. Whenever you get ready for a stage, it takes a lot of stress off the stage to know where everything is. And then when you get done putting everything back, reloading your mags, that takes even more stress off of you. So that's a very important tip for anybody that's kind of getting into the game is whatever you have for a system, make a system for storing your gear. And no matter what you're going to do to tweak your ammo and your guns, just make sure it runs. It has to be reliable.
Well, and I think, Ryan, you and I do a really good job of representing Stoeger and Benelli, and you've got the big trailer out here in the parking lot. And, you know, last night we were in your mobile gunsmith shop, and we had some competitors that were here that had a Stoeger that was brand new to them. They didn't know exactly what they were doing with it, you know, because some of them were a little more suspect than others, but they hadn't been around 3-gun that long. But you literally took their shotguns into your trailer, the Stoeger trailer, and was sitting there working on them and tweaking them out and showing them some different things and adjusting some things. And that's a huge benefit. And having somebody like you on site is big. I mean, why did you guys decide to do that? I mean, that's a huge value add, and it obviously takes time, effort, and energy on your part. And you're just doing it.
That whole system was kind of a joint project we did with us and Benelli. Is we were going to start taking a trailer around, and they said, you know what, there's a lot of guns, a lot of M2s, you know, it basically owns 3-gun, really. They said there's a lot of people shooting our products. If they buy our products, we should support them. And what they do is they send me parts, springs, replacement parts. Stuff breaks inevitably. It's going to happen. They're man-made parts. But what they wanted was if you buy our product and you go to a match and you're using it and if something does go wrong, we want you to have a way to get it fixed relatively quickly. And they do it for free. I mean, they send me the parts for free. I will give you a new spring, a new extractor, whatever it might be, and I'll put it in for free as long as I have time, you know, right then. And I just think that's a great service. I really like that. We've been doing that for 4 years now, and it's been really good. I even have people that hit me up online and say, you know, I'm headed out to Rockcastle for the Pro-Am. I've got some questions, and can you fix this? Can you work on this? They're going to bring the shotguns by. We'll do whatever we need to. And when you say tweak, there's not a lot that needs to be done to most shotguns. I think that's a mistake a lot of people make is they really want to just change everything. And believe it or not, Benelli and Stoeger, those guys know more about building and designing shotguns than we do. So they do a pretty good job of building them in the first place.
And, you know, I'm going to throw Aaron Hayes in here. I hope, you know, he may stop by the trailer here and talk with us a little bit on ESPN radio. But, you know, Aaron's got Hayes Custom Guns. But you guys, I mean, and you're loyal to your brands because they're sponsors and they're giving you this. But you guys help with any product. I mean, it could be a rifle, it could be a pistol, it could be anything. But to the best of your ability, you guys are here, and it's a huge service. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got a tray in the toolbox for all 3 platforms. So we try to do what we can. And Aaron Hayes, like you said, we shoot his pistols. He's a great resource for shotguns and pistols for sure. He works on a lot of them. He sees a lot of issues, and he knows how to make them run. So,
Yeah, and there's other sponsor companies that come to the matches, like Double Star, one of our big sponsors for the Pro-Am 3-gun, and they have a lot of rifle parts and stuff. But you don't see a lot of companies doing the service support on the site. And back from my professional bass fishing days, you know, if you're running Mercury Motors is on site at a big bass tournament, and they're there to fix stuff. And I think that's really cool. That I think that's a great outreach for companies that not enough companies are doing. So take note, companies that are listening. It's a pretty good resource and outreach to your people to have the ability to get some stuff fixed.
Absolutely, and it's not going to cost you near as much as you think, because that person is going to be upset that their gun is broke and that they have to go without it while they go through the return process. And, you know, warranties, especially lifetime warranties, like a loopholed warranty, is great, but you don't want to have to use it. And you don't want to be without your product for a while. So it's nice that when it goes down, we fix it right now. They're out the cost of the part. The company themselves is out the cost of the part. Not shipping both ways. I just think it's a really good program, and I'm excited to continue to do it.
So what division are you shooting open? Or
I shot open this time,
shooting open this time. Now, you're a 3-gunner for the most part, right? But you've been doing some other crazy stuff lately.
I did an ELR match this year, and that was
extreme long range.
Yeah, we
Let's
shot.
talk about that for a second.
Our farthest target was 2,097 yards in Wyoming, where the wind is blowing all ways in 4 different directions. And I think our average was about 1,600, 900 being our closest target.
And one of the coolest posts that you made on social media about that match, and I think it's important going into the Pro-Am 3-Gun Championship for the AMs out there, is you went into that match, basically walked in with the other competitors and said, hey, I'm new here, and I'd like to learn what I'm doing. And they helped you.
Oh, they helped. The shooting community, I think, is some of the best people in the world. You know, I would help anybody that comes out to a 3-gun match. You know, I would give them my experience and my knowledge for free right now.
You've loaned guns.
Yeah, or loan guns. I've got a whole trailer load of them. That, in fact, I'm giving out several of them to the Brazilians this time. So, but yeah, they basically said, you know, hey, do this. And it was a complete different sport than what I'm used to. It was a really good time. The people were great. It was fun. And if that's your thing, do it. Just go out. And the best advice, like you said, is to say, I'm new. And they're probably not going to give you their precision bolt gun to borrow, but they are going to help you with
those
gear.
Rifles are expensive.
Yeah.
What'd you shoot?
I shot a 6.5 PRC. I had a Mark V 7-35 on it with a H59 reticle, and I got first round hits at right under 2,100. So.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
that's like 1.25 miles.
It's pretty close to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the extreme long-range game is growing like crazy, too. I mean, the long-range game in and of itself is growing like crazy. We have people sitting out here in the yard at Rockcastle listening to us, and these are guys that go out and shoot, 1,000 rounds a weekend on their long-range stuff for fun. And you don't see a lot of 3-gunners going and taking their 2.23 round down shooting 100 yards 1,000 rounds a weekend.
No, that's boring, right?
It's fun because you're shooting out different distances and stuff. So, you and Lady Di, your wife, she unfortunately can't be here because she's at a Well-Armed Woman conference.
Yes.
First time she's been involved with them. We actually have a Well-Armed Women club that shoots here a lot with Renee McMillan. Pretty cool organization, but she also does the DC project, and we need to give her props on that because stuff is crazy right now.
They just got back from DC, actually. Yeah. I think she's got a couple states that she is missing. It's pretty hard to get some of the Northeast states to get a representative from that state, and it's a nonpartisan group. If you guys aren't familiar with it, nonpartisan group, and they go to DC once a year to meet legislators and
talk about gun rights.
Just talk about it. Just say, I'm a rape victim, and the reason it happened is because someone decided that I shouldn't be able to protect myself the way I want to in that particular parking lot. And it's really hard to look at that person and say that I'm okay with you, going through that because I don't think you should have a gun. It's just a difficult conversation
Nikki
to have.
Gessner, a good friend of ours on there, and her husband got shot in front of her in a restaurant by her stalker.
Yeah, exactly.
In a gun-free zone. And those are the people going in and talking. So I would highly encourage our people, our listeners, to go on and find the DC Project.
Yeah, it's at dcproject.org. And like I said, they just got back from DC. They set up and attended just over 150 meetings in one weekend, and she organized all of that.
Yeah.
So very, very effective. And they meet with everyone that's pro-gun. They meet with everyone that's anti-gun. And like I said, they just go in and they say, if you have a question, reach out to me, and I'll give you an honest answer.
Well, the Second Amendment is doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on or the Second Amendment you're on, it's under attack. And these 50 ladies representing all 50 states going to D.C. is a big deal, and we just need to see more and more of that. And there's big turmoil in the NRA right now and everything else, and we also need to make sure that we're supporting other folks out there, including the NRA, that is out there fighting for our rights so we can talk about guns on ESPN radio. And we just, what I love about the Pro-Am in particular, Rockcastle in general, is that we get people from all over the world here, and they don't take their gun rights for granted. And I think that a lot of people in the United States, and even us as listeners, people that use guns for pleasure, for sport, for different things, we take our rights for granted a lot of times. But you see these Brazilians that are in here right now.
Yeah,
they appreciate.
They have the judge, which is kind of like their senator or something, on their shooting jerseys.
Right.
That's trying to change the gun laws in Brazil
Yeah.
and weed out all the crime and everything that's going on, and that's how seriously they are about it. I mean, they're sponsored by the judge that's going to help them fix the gun laws. And you look at we're preaching the choir up here at Rockcastle on top of the hill, but there's 500 shooters in the match this weekend. That means there's at least 600 AR rifles on property, and none of them are going to commit a crime.
Well, I
Not
think
one of them.
I think it's a corporate responsibility as in a citizen responsibility. Lady Di, again, Ryan, our guest right here. I mean, we've got we're going to have some folks here registering voters to actually vote and get registered to vote if you're not registered to vote, because I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on or what your political affiliation is. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice, and we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that what we love and hold so dearly, which is our God-given rights as a Second Amendment in the United States, is protected.
Yep. And there are people on the other side that are doing this exact thing. They're just doing the opposite message to the same people. They're getting that out there, and they're very effective with the media behind them. But I think it's a great idea to get people out here, and if you're not registered to vote, get registered.
Yeah,
We're not telling you how to vote.
You don't even have to be a shooter. If you're listening to this program and you want to register to vote, come on up to Rockcastle this weekend.
Yeah.
Exit 48 on I-65. Find the voter people and register and get a little armband and go out and watch Ryan Muller shoot. Well, no,
I'm going to be ROing now,
He's
brother.
ROing. But everybody else here.
Hey, and by the way, thank you for ROing. I mean, you're a professional shooter, and there was a call out for range officers, and you typically aren't one of those guys that does that because you're this is your profession, but you're actually giving back at this match and being a range officer. And I know you've done that many times, but typically that's not the case, and we just appreciate you doing that.
Yep, that's the intention. We just want to see the other side of the timer every once in a while and make sure that we're working, and it it's good. It's good to help. And I like being out here anyway, so.
Yeah.
Well, we like
except when it's hot.
It doesn't
or
suck.
raining. Can't be hot or raining.
Well, it's hot now.
Well, it's got to be.
But
all right,
we miss your wife.
Yeah,
I do too.
No
We're glad
offense.
we're glad you're here.
I know, and this is the first one she's had to miss. So, I'm getting ready to leave and drive off, and she's about to tear up, and I'm going to turn around.
She'll be all
That's
right.
cool.
She's doing work.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm working? What do you guys call this?
You know what I mean.
Ryan Muller, thank you very much. Good luck, and hope you finish well, and thank you for doing here. We're at the Rockcastle Pro 3-Gun Championship. Hey, I want to do a shout-out right now. We got a lot of sponsors for this match, and it's big. But there's a couple of people that have gone a little extra effort. Gunfighter Targets, they sent in a bunch of stuff just willy-nilly, and the gentleman drove the product here to help us get out, and also
Innovative Targets, Jason Agee.
Innovative Targets with AG, and then also Red Stitch. They sent in a bunch of stuff to fix some things, and Brian Corey,
our good
did all
friends
that.
at Magneto Speed.
So, but
Magneto Speed's awesome. Check it out.
But we've got, ripping it up here and finishing off, but come up to the Rockcastle Pro-Am 3-Gun Championships. Platinum sponsors Double Star, and come check them out. They've got a side match, and you're listening to Rockcastle.
Booth and everything.
Citizens Bank Park. One down, top of the third, base is empty for Victor Caratini, the Cubs catcher. 4-0 Phillies.